ever noticed something strange? We rarely celebrate the process. The part where you're unsure, the part where you try and try but still come up short. Failure is not always dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet. It shows up as a single line in a rejected email or as a silence after you hoped for a yes but ended up got nothing. That quiet moments, the ones no one claps for, are where the real stories begin. Because growth doesn't always make noise. Sometimes it happens in silence. Sometimes it begins with disappointment, and sometimes it starts where everything seems to go wrong. So today, I'm not here to talk about success that shines. I want to talk about the kind of growth that shines in the dark. And worse, I thought I was the only one who felt that way. Like, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like you are the only one not doing okay? Like everyone else had a map, but you are just lost. Like, but here's the strange part. The moment I heard someone else also struggling too, just like me, I felt suddenly less alone. That's when I realized the most painful thing is not about failure. It's the feeling that you are the only one failing. But you are not. That was when I understood that. I had failed. I couldn't get into the university I wanted. So I had to choose another university I didn't want. I started living in a dormitory with 10 other girls in a room. When I first moved in, I was just a tiny dot in a giant, unfamiliar world. And I was just a quiet, simple girl, and even unsure of who I was. Everything felt loud, not just voices in the room, but the pressure to fit in and pretend like I was fine. I have never been around so many people, like the way they talk, they think, they react, that was also new to me. I didn't know how to react, so I stayed silent. But slowly, something inside me changed. I started pushing myself in small ways. Like, I started asking more questions in class, and I started analyzing my teachers. Not only what they taught and how they taught. And I even wrote down ideas that what it would be if I were a teacher. Like, how I would teach if I were a teacher like them. And I started thinking like a leader, not just a student. I still remember one day, my teacher looked at me and asked, "What do you think? Is feeling okay?" I still remember my reaction. I sat there thinking, why is he asking me that? I mean, me? I'm not that kind of person. I don't feel. I really believed that because at that time I said success was something, but success was meant that something was wrong with you. That you are not good enough. That people look at you differently. But I was wrong. And I just answered my teacher's question something simple, something safe, but deep inside, that question stayed with me. Is failing okay? And I didn't have an answer at that time, but life did. And it slowly began to show me that, yes, failing is not only okay, sometimes it's necessary. Because, failure is not a wall, it's a mirror. When you stop running from it and start looking into it, you see yourself clearly for the first time. At first, I thought these failures were breaking me. That choosing university I didn't believe in, living in a room that I couldn't study, I couldn't sleep. But I noticed something. I started changing. Not in a big or dramatic way, but it's slowly. I started listening more. not just to others, but to myself. I began to asking better questions like what kind of life do I want? What kind of teacher do I want to be? And what kind of strength is being built in me right now? I used to think success is supposed to come first, and then the confidence will follow. But no. Sometimes it's the struggles that build you. Failure isn't the end of your story, but it's the start of a better life. That's when I understood something. Growth doesn't always look beautiful. That failure didn't break me after all those moments of doubt, after all those nights crying. That failure introduced me to myself. I started changing not like in the movies, but slowly. I started challenging my habits. When everyone was chatting or complaining, I gave myself a quiet moment to read or reflect. And when somebody said, "You are not doing your best," I didn't argue. I just worked harder. And now I'm ready for everything. Even success, even failure, because I know now that success is something that can make you grow. There was even moments that I couldn't even speak, not because I was wrong, because I was afraid that they'd laugh, afraid that they'd think I didn't sound smart enough. But I'm no longer the same. I learned how to live by myself. I observed how people handle situations, how they react to stress, and how they make decisions, and how they kept working. I analyzed, and I had practice. That failure shaped me. It gave me a new way of thinking. And even there were some failures like when I first came to dormitory, I didn't know how to cook well. Sometimes I even burned foods and even cried for that. Now I believe that if I never failed, I would never be real. I would never grow. And I'm not here to say I've achieved everything. I just wanna say that I've grown. Sometimes I wonder, what if life was just perfect? Like, what if you had gotten the university you wanted? Like, everything worked out smoothly, no failures, no mistakes. And would it be interesting? Would you still be the same person you are now? Would you be this strong? I don't think so. The even people like Jack Ma from China, he's the most successful person now. He was rejected by 30 jobs. Even he exceeded and hired him. And he was even failed the university exams twice, but he didn't stop. He didn't grow despite failure. He grew through it. And if he turned rejection into something powerful, maybe we all can. And what about J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter? Before she became successful, she was rejected by 12 publishers. But she was even a single mom, but she didn't stop, and now she's successful. You might be wondering, why is she even talking about this? Like, did she feel that much to speak about? To be honest, I asked the same question. I'm not some famous person. I haven't won big awards, but I know the feeling that, when you don't recognize yourself anymore. That everything seems loud around you, but too inside, too quiet inside. And if that's you, you are not weak. You are not behind. You are just on a path that takes longer to understand. And maybe one day you look back and smile, not because it was easy, but because you walked away. That's all I get. Thank you.